Now, let us begin our class with Brahmanad. Om. Om. Shanti. 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 Swastha. Good morning. Today, let us discuss the remnant part of second unit of the lesson The Open Window by Shaki. In our previous class, we discussed that Mrs. Sepulton reached the drawing room of the house after some time. And when she reached the drawing room of the house after some time, she entered with lots of excuses. But she did not want to know who that visitor was and why he had come to her house. But we know that Hampton Nuttall had gone to the house of Mrs. Sepulton to hand over a letter of introduction to her, because she was known to his eldest sister, and his eldest sister had given a letter of introduction through her brother to Mrs. Sepulton, hoping if there was any sort of help needed by her brother, she would come forward for his help. That was the reason why the eldest sister of Sepulton, the eldest sister of Hampton Nuttall, had given a letter of introduction to Mrs. Sepulton, and it was sent through her brother, Mr. Hampton Nuttall. She didn't know who that guest was. She did not even inquire anything why Hampton Nuttall had come to her house. But after reaching the drawing room of the house, she also started talking about the French window. A prank was already played with him by the niece of Mrs. Sepulton. The niece of Mrs. Sepulton, Vera, had already eaten the head of Hampton Nuttall by narrating an airy, that means frightening story. As you know, no such family tragedy took place in the house of Mrs. Sepulton. But he was told by Vera that Mr. Sepulton and two of his brother-in-laws had gone for snipe shooting to the moor some 3 years before. But they had not reached home, as their bodies were not found. If they were engulfed in that treacherous bog, they would return one day, because their bodies were not found. That was the reason why Mrs. Sepulton was thinking that her husband and her two younger brothers were alive. This was completely an imaginative thing. And she imagined only to frighten the guest Hampton Nuttall. And when Mrs. Sepulton came to the drawing room of the house, she also started talking about the French window and her husband and her two younger brothers. She said to Frampton Nuttall that her husband and her two younger brothers had gone for snipe shooting that day. But he could not pay his attention what he was said by Mrs. Stapleton, as he was already told by Vera that they had gone some 3 years before. But Mrs. Stapleton spoke the truth. She said, "My husband and my two younger brothers have gone for snipe shooting today. They will return at any time now." That means she was expecting the arrival of her husband and her two younger brothers from shooting. But Mr. Frampton Nuttall, the visitor of the house or the guest of the house, thought that he had gone on a wrong day to that house. He thought that it was the death anniversary of Mr. Stapleton and two of his younger brothers. He thought he would not have visited the house on that day. Then he tried to change the topic. So he started saying to Mrs. Stapleton what he was advised by his doctor. As you know, Mr. Frampton Nuttall was a patient and he was suffering from nerve storm. He was suffering from nervousness and he was advised by his doctor to go to a rural retreat in order to get some relief from that calm and quiet place. Usually, what do we find? We find peace and tranquility spreading all around in rural areas. That was the reason why he was advised by his doctor to go to a rural retreat. And when he was told to go to a rural retreat by his doctor, not he, but his sister had preferred that her brother Frampton Nuttall should go to the village of Mrs. Stapleton because she was well acquainted with some of the villagers of that village. If her brother stayed in that village and had some problems or faced some difficulties, the villagers whom she had known would come forward for the help of her brother. That was the reason why Mrs. Stapleton's village was chosen, and she advised her brother Frampton Nuttall to go to the village of Mrs. Stapleton. At the same time, she also wrote letters to the villagers whom she had known, and she sent all those letters of introductions through his brother to be handed over to the villagers whom she had known. That was the reason why Frampton Nuttall had gone to the house of Mrs. Stapleton. So he tried his best to change the topic by describing what he was advised by his doctor. Clear? But Mrs. Stapleton's mind was somewhere else. She was not listening what she was said by her guest, Mr. Frampton Nuttall. Now, let us go through the remaining part of the second unit of the lesson, The Open Window. Here they are at last. Then all of a sudden, Mrs. Stapleton shouted as she could see from a distance that her husband and her two younger brothers returning from shooting. So she said, "Here they are at last, just in time for tea," and they had returned at right time. They had returned just in time for tea. And don't they look as if they were muddy up to the eyes? And from a distance they appeared as if they were muddy up to their eyes, from knee to eyes. They seemed that they were muddy. Don't they look as if they were muddy up to the eyes? Frampton shivered. Frampton Nuttall, the guest, the visitor of the house, started trembling, started shivering, because he thought that Mr. Sappleton and two of his younger brothers, who had gone for snipe shooting some 3 years before, were dead. He thought that they were dead. And when he was said by Mrs. Sappleton, "Oh, now they are coming, and they look muddy up to their eyes." And this speech of Mrs. Sappleton made Frampton Nuttall shiver. Frampton Nuttall shivered slightly and turned towards the niece. And what did he do? He turned towards the niece, Vera, with a look intended to convey means express, sympathetic comprehension. Comprehension means understanding. Apprehension means fear. Comprehension means understanding, comprehend, understand. So what did he do? He turned towards Vera. He turned towards the niece with a look intended to express sympathetic comprehension. Why did he turn towards Vera? He turned towards Vera with a look intended to express sympathetic comprehension. And she hoped, and Frampton Nuttall hoped, that she would, or Vera would, help him in that situation. That was the reason he turned towards the niece Vera with a look intended to express sympathetic comprehension. The child was staring out through the open window. Here the child refers to the niece of Mrs. Sappleton. And who was the niece of Mrs. Sappleton? It was Vera, V-E-R-A, the niece of Mrs. Sappleton. Here the child also refers to Vera, and she was acting marvelously. See, how did she act when she found the guest? Frampton Nuttall turned towards her with a look intended to convey sympathetic comprehension. Vera staring, stare, S-T-A-R, when we look with our fixed eyes, without closing our eyelid, without blinking, when we look fixedly, that is called staring. And what did she do? She started staring towards that French window. The child was staring out through that French window, through that open window, with a dazed horror, dazed means what? Baffled, B-A-F-F-L-E-D, baffled or confused. Horror means fear. See, it was nothing but only an acting made by Vera, only to frighten the guest, Frampton Nortel. The child was staring out through the French window with a, excuse me, dazed horror in her eyes. In a chill shock means fear, chill shock, in a chill shock of nameless fear, in a nameless fear, Frampton Nortel started swinging or swung round in his seat, and he also started looking in that same direction. He also started looking through the open window or through that French window which was open, because it was expected when they enter the house, they would enter through the open window, through that French window. So he also looked in the same direction, in the direction Vera was also looking. In the deepening twilight means dim light. In the deepening twilight, three figures were walking across the lawn. Lawn, you know, a piece of grassland is known as lawn. In the deepening twilight, three figures, and who were the three figures? Here, three figures indicate Mr. Stapleton and two of his brother-in-laws. In the deepening twilight, three figures were walking across the lawn towards the window. He found, Frampton Nortel found three figures walking across the lawn towards the window, and he took them as ghosts, as he thought they were already dead. How could they come all of a sudden alive after 3 years? So he took all those three figures as ghosts. So in the deepening twilight, three figures were walking across the lawn towards the window. They all carried guns under their arms, and what more did he find when they were coming towards the window? They were coming with guns under their arms. They all carried guns under their arms, and one of the figures, one of them was additionally burdened, carrying a gun under his arm. He also carried a coat that was hung over his shoulder. One of them was additionally burdened with a white coat that was hung over his shoulders. A tired brown spaniel, you know, hunting dog is known as spaniel. A tired brown spaniel kept close at their heels. That spaniel was also keeping its pace with the three figures. A tired brown spaniel kept close at their heels. Noiselessly, they neared the house without making any type of noise. Noiselessly, they came nearer the house. They neared. Here see, near is used as a verb. They neared the house. And suddenly a chorus, rough voice started uttering or spoken out of the dusk, you know, the last glow of the setting sun. That is the reason why it is mentioned twilight. Dusk, D-A-W-N, dawn, the first glow of the rising sun is called dawn. And the last glow of the setting sun is called dusk. and in that semi-darkness, all of a sudden, a chorus voice chanted, "Bati, why do you bound?" And you know, this statement was said by Roni. And who was Roni? Roni was the youngest brother of Mrs. Shepperton. And why did he make this statement to his sister? He made, that means Roni made this statement to his sister to irritate him. And whenever Roni said this statement, "Bati, why do you bound?" she got vexed. She got annoyed, as she thought that it affects her nerves. Out of the dusk, I said, "Bati, why do you bound?" Frampton, Nuttall, then all of a sudden grabbed, pulled wildly at his stick. What did he do? He pulled his stick, he grabbed his stick and hid. Then ran towards the hall door. He wanted to flee or to run away from that place. After taking his stick and hat, he went towards the hall door. The hall door, then the gravel drive, and you know gravel drive, and what does gravel drive mean? Gravel drive means a road paved with small pebbles. And what do you mean by pebbles? Round shaped small stones are called pebbles. See, when they neared the house, when the three figures neared the house, what did Frampton Nuttall do? He grabbed his stick and hat and started running towards the hall door. Then he went the gravel drive and thereafter the front gate. He started running towards the hall door, then the gravel drive, then the front gate. Were dimly noted stays in his headlong retreat. Here see headlong retreat. That means going back in great speed or in great haste, quick, that speed. Going back in great haste, that is called headlong retreat. A cyclist coming along the road, a cyclist that time coming along the road had to run into the heads in order to avoid the collision. So a cyclist coming along the road had to run into the heads to avoid imminent means likely to happen, likely to happen, and eminent, you know, renowned or famous, but imminent, IMMINENT, imminent means what? Likely to happen. And what was likely to happen? A collision or an accident was likely to happen. And what was that? That was the collision of a cyclist with Frampton Nuttall, as he wanted to go out of the house quickly. So Frampton Nuttall grabbed wildly at his stick and hat. Then he ran towards the hall door. Then he went to the gravel drive and the front gate. That were front gate, and these were dimly noted stages in his headlong retreat. A cyclist coming along the road had to run into the heads. And why did he do so? He did so in order to avoid that imminent collision. After the departure of Frampton Nuttall from the house, there came in the three figures. They reached Mr. Shepperton and two of his brother-in-laws. Here we are, my dear. My dear. So it was addressed by Mr. Stapleton. And to whom did he address this statement? He addressed, or Mr. Stapleton addressed this statement or addressed this to his wife, Mrs. Stapleton. Here we are, said the bearer of the white Mackintosh. One of the figures was additionally burdened with a white coat over his shoulders. Isn't it? And what does Mackintosh mean? And that was Mackintosh. And what does Mackintosh mean? Mackintosh means a raincoat. A raincoat that is named after its inventor. And who is the inventor of Mackintosh? Charles Mackintosh. Charles Mackintosh. Mackintosh is a raincoat. And it is named after its inventor, Charles Mackintosh. The bearer of the white Mackintosh coming in through the window. They came in through the window. All the three visitors, that means Mr. Stapleton and two of his brother-in-laws, entered the house through that French window. And while entering, the bearer of the Mackintosh said, "Here we are at last. Now, we are here, my dear. We are here, my dear." This was what the bearer of Mackintosh said to Mrs. Stapleton. And this statement was said by Mr. Stapleton. "Here we are, my dear," said the bearer of the white Mackintosh, coming in through the window. Fairly muddy. Fairly muddy means completely muddy. Completely muddy, covered with mud. Covered with mud is known as muddy. All three figures, that means Mr. Stapleton and two of his brother-in-laws, had been completely covered with mud. Fairly muddy. Completely muddy when they returned home after shooting. But most of it is dry. But most of it, that means the mud, most of mud is dry. Most of it is dry. After entering the house, Mr. Stapleton asked his wife, "And who was that boy who went out of the house, seeing us as if he saw a ghost? Who was that? Who bolted?" Here bolted means blocked. B-O-L-T-E-D. B-O-L-T-E-D. Bolted means what? Blocked. This question was asked by Mr. Stapleton to his wife, Mrs. Stapleton. He asked, "Who was that who bolted out as we came up?" "A most extraordinary man, a Mr. Nuttall." A Mr. Nuttall. See, Mr. Nuttall is a proper noun. An indefinite article a is used before the proper noun. And remember, when indefinite article a or n is used before a proper noun, it means that person is a stranger, completely stranger to the speaker. When I say, "A Mr. Senapati rang to me an hour ago," a Mr. Senapati, who is the speaker? Myself is the speaker. And when I say, "A Mr. Senapati rang to me an hour ago," that means I don't know that person who rang to me an hour ago. When we use, remember, indefinite article a or n before a proper noun, it means that person is a completely stranger to the speaker. So what did she reply to her husband when she was asked by her husband, "Who was that who ran away who was that? Who was that who ran away when we entered the house? Who was that who bolted out as we came up? So the answer that was given by Mrs. Stapleton to her husband was that a most extraordinary man. A most extraordinary man. See, what did she say to her husband? Most is superlative degree. And when we use article A before most, usually definite article the is used before superlatives. But when article A is used before most, what does it mean? A most means very, very extraordinary. A Mr. Nuttall, said Mrs. Stapleton. Understood? What did I say? A most. What does it mean? A most means very. Article A is not used before superlatives. When article A is used before most, what does it mean? It means very extraordinary. Similarly, we don't use any article before proper noun, and when we use indefinite article A or N before a pronoun, it means that person is a completely stranger to the speaker. That was the reason why she said to her husband, a Mr. Nuttall, a Mr. Nuttall, who could only talk about his illness. And do you know what did she speak to me? She spoke to me only about his illness. That was the reason why she said to her husband, a most extraordinary man. And dashed off means, say D-A-S-H-E-D, dashed O-F-F, dashed off means moved violently, without a word of a goodbye or adieu. When he saw you approaching near the house, he left the house or he dashed off without a word of goodbye or apology. One would think he had seen a ghost. The way Mr. Nuttall, the guest, left the house would make one think that he left the house as if he had seen a ghost. One would think he had seen a ghost. That was what Mrs. Stapleton said to her husband. Then interfered again Vera. Vera, you know, was a self-possessed young girl of 15. She loved to play pranks. She played a good prank with Mr. Nuttall. Now, let us see what does she say after listening this discussion between her uncle, Mr. Stapleton, and her aunt, Mrs. Stapleton. I expect it was the spaniel. He left the house because of the spaniel. She said, I hope that he left the house because he got scared of the dog. He got frightened of the spaniel. I expect it was the spaniel, said the niece calmly, quietly. What did she say? As she was listening the conversation that went on between Mr. Stapleton and Mrs. Stapleton, she said she did not leave the house thinking that he had seen a ghost. He left the house because he got scared of the spaniel. I expect it was the spaniel, said the niece calmly and quietly. He told me he had a horror of dogs. It was a blatant lie. Natal had not told Bhera that he had a fear of a dog. But after the departure of Natal from the house, Bhera said to her uncle and her aunt that Natal had told him. Frampton Natal told him that he had a horror. A horror means what? A fear. He had a horror of dogs. But it was not said by Natal to Bhera. Bhera told again a lie. Bhera here told a lie to whom? To her uncle and her aunt. To make her believe, she also added, he was once haunted. Here haunted means Hunted. Here haunted means chased. Chased. He was once hunted into a cemetery. And what does cemetery mean? Cemetery means burial place. Burial place or graveyard. Graveyard. Graveyard or burial place. He refers to Frampton Natal was once chased into a cemetery somewhere on the banks of the Ganges, river Ganges, by a pack. Here pack means group, P-A-C-K, by a pack. P-A-C-K, pack means what? Group, by a pack of pariah dogs. Pariah means P-A-R-I-A-H. Pariah means stray, wandering, stray dogs. So he was once chased into a cemetery somewhere on the banks of river Ganges by a group of stray dogs. And as he was chased by a group of pariah dogs, he had to spend the night. He had to spend the night in that cemetery, in a newly dug grave with the creatures. Here the creatures refers to the stray dogs, snarling and grinning. Snarling means what? Here snarling means making angry sounds. Grin means, we know, laugh or smile or to show teeth. But here snarling and grinning means barking angrily. He was in the grave. He was in the grave in that cemetery, and the pariah dogs, the stray dogs, were around the grave, and they were snarling and grinning. They were barking angrily. And foaming. And foaming means what? With foam. Foam, you know, leather. L-A-T-H-E-R. Foam. F-O-A-M. With foams just above him. Enough to make anyone lose their nerve. Lose their nerve. Here, lose their nerve means being disappointed or getting scared or frightened. Clear? So, romance at short, notice, was her specialty. And what does romance mean? Romance means a story of excellent adventure. That was what her specialty. And what was the specialty of Bhera? Romance was the specialty of that self-possessed young girl of 15, Bhera. Now we have completed the story, The Open Window. Now let me ask you a few questions. First of all, how did Mrs. Stapleton enter the drawing room of her house? She entered the drawing room of her house with lots of excuses. Why did she enter the drawing room with lots of excuses? She entered the drawing room of her house with lots of excuses for being late in reaching there. Why had Frampton Nortel go to the house of Mrs. Stapleton? Frampton Nortel had gone to the house of Mrs. Stapleton to hand over a letter of introduction to her, given to him by his eldest sister. What did Mrs. Stapleton say to Frampton Nortel after reaching in the drawing room of the house? After reaching in the drawing room of the house, she also started narrating about the French window. Of course, she did not play any prank with Mr. Nortel. She told him the truth. What was the truth? The truth was that Mr. Stapleton and two of his brother-in-laws had gone for snipe shooting that same day. But what was thought by Frampton Nortel? It was thought by Nortel that it was the death anniversary day of Mr. Stapleton and two of his brother-in-laws, as they had gone for snipe shooting 3 years before, as said by Vera to him. And that was the anniversary day of Mr. Stapleton and two of his brother-in-laws. What did Mr. Nortel try to do? Mr. Nortel tried to divert the topic by narrating what he was advised by his doctor. What did Mrs. Stapleton say all of a sudden? Mrs. Stapleton all of a sudden said, "Oh, at last they reached in time for tea," as she found her husband and two of her younger brothers returning home from a distance. How did the figures appear to Mrs. Stapleton, Vera, and Frampton Nortel from a distance? The three figures appeared from a distance as if they were covered with mud from to the eyes. What did Frampton Nortel do when the three figures approached near the house? When the three figures near the house, he grabbed his stick and hat and left the house in a haste. Clear? In our next period, we will discuss some other chapter. Thank you.